So I was proved wrong. I didn't really get into a heated argument with anyone, but I didn't think that this boxer, this Jewish guy, would win the championship. Um, I mean, there have been other Jewish champions in boxing, but I just didn't think our culture and our, the way we are, that we had it in us to be championship boxers. And this guy did. And he's studying to be a rabbi, and now he is not heavyweight, was it welterweight? Welterweight champion of the world. And what comes to mind, is not that. It's actually, this is something I read in the New York Times yesterday. I don't know if you can see that, but Cloud Levi-Strauss dies. It's from the New York Times. And he's an interesting guy. I studied a little bit about him in college. When people started attacking me for being a Republican when I first became one last year, they said I was a Straussian. And of course, I didn't realize what Strauss they're talking about. I thought of course I like Levi-Strauss. They meant the other Strauss, who I also like. Who the other Strauss felt that there was something inherently good and superior about Western culture. And I happen to share that view. But this Strauss, Claude Levi-Strauss, from France, hey, Seismic is a French network, his basic idea is that every culture has something inherent in it that allows them to be the way they are. And unlike Rousseau, another French philosopher, who felt that we should get back to the agrarian, state, the kind of idea that influenced the French Revolution, he wasn't like that. Levi-Strauss felt that that there were just equivalencies in each culture, and he rejected the idea, this is a quote, that differences between societies were of no consequence, but he focused on the common aspect of humanity's attempt to understand the world. He became the premier representative of structuralism, a school of thought in which universe structures were believed to underlie all human activity, giving shape to seemingly disparate cultures and creations. So let's just go over that one more time. So he's a structuralist. So you hear me a lot on Seismic. You see me attacking Noam Chomsky a lot. Well, Noam Chomsky was against Levi-Strauss, because what Noam Chomsky says is that there is no structuralism, and it's all about a historical narrative, and that we can ignore the structures and reconfigure them how we want, and hence you have the fascism of today's politically correct culture. That comes from Noam Chomsky. But this whole left and right argument is stupid, because this guy's a leftist. He believes in structuralism the way Marx was a structuralist. He believed in building, that there are certain elements in society that we all share, and that there are good elements, and that industrialization isn't necessarily bad. Neither is tribal culture, but there is a structure to it, and it's something we share. It's not collective. It's not like a collective unconscious, like, say, no, another subject. Anyway, so how do I compare that to the boxing, the Jewish boxers? Well, I honestly didn't think that as individuals that Jewish culture had it in us to be Muhammad Ali. Of course, comes from black nationalistic Islamic culture, which I think is a little bit more military oriented, jihadist. It was very surprising to see a Jewish boxer. But obviously, Levi-Strauss was right. We all have it in us. It's in us. It's part of us. It's part of who we are. We all have that element in us. It's, do we allow that to become our rhetoric? Do we allow it to become our defining person? This guy's studying to be a rabbi. He sees this as a way to find his path to where he wants to be spiritually. So, yeah, it's not exactly something that I would encourage my kid to do, and it's not a cultural pattern that for many Jewish kids, but for him, he was able to find his inner boxer, his inner fighter, and he was able to project it, and he became the champion of the world. As opposed to the other Strauss, which all the people shouting neocons are screaming about, the Straussians. Ooh, the Straussians are evil. Well, no, I don't think he's wrong either. I really do believe that liberalism comes from Western culture. It comes from a linear idea of the world that things can get better. Follow that line, right? And it comes from Messianic thought. It comes from Judaism. It comes from thinking in terms of being able to change things, as opposed to the Eastern mindset, which thinks generally in a more conservative, cyclic view of things. I do think that there is a superior element to Western culture, and I'm not ashamed to say that. But that doesn't mean that I think that Western culture isn't inside of Eastern culture, or Eastern culture isn't inside of Western culture. It doesn't mean that there isn't an inner boxer within every Jew. Things are more complicated than that.